All right, this is a daily chart of AAPL. Before I talk about AAPL, what I want to talk about is my system. Even though people see these are called visionary lines, the system isn't based just upon the visionary lines and the different time frames I look at. What they do, and it's not about indicators either. Stochastics, MACD, they all give signals, okay, but they can't tell you where the stock is heading, how much it will move. So my my system is really based on patterns, and I use the visionary lines to help me pinpoint the highest probability. And that's what's different about my systems. It's not just about the visionary lines. Some people think that if they would have the visionary lines, they could do what I'm doing. No, the visionary lines, they act as a guide to help increase the odds dramatically when used correctly. And that's what I've been studying. It's not about indicators. It's a combination. You notice when if as you follow me, you'll notice how I use the word confirmation, because no matter how bullish I am, I've noticed that when volume and price collide at the right points of stocks with what I look at in the visionary lines, then a big movement happens. Now, let's go to my stream here. My latest one that I sent to my followers was PANW. Now, there's a lot of stocks I send out, but I mean, not a lot, a few select, right? But they have to trigger. Now, this one triggered. So let's click on this. And, you can see, all the likes and a lot of nice comments. You can check it on my screen. But let's click on the chart. And this is what I sent to my followers on September the 29th. I said, Pan W set up higher prices, a break above the 101 to 102 area on some strong volume would confirm. Volume will be key here for a strong move higher. Now, notice how I'm talking about key number. Now, amazingly, that day, and let's go to the chart here. Let's go back to this chart here. We'll go to Pan W. If you notice that, as you can see, there was a lot of volume, but it was also very apparent on the, on a shorter time frame. You can see the volume pop. So as soon as we opened up, and if we break this down even to a 10-minute, you can see there was a strong power surge. So what I'm getting at is if the stock would have simply just hit some of my visionary lines, but not do so with the volume. And again, I recognize this stock as a high probable trade. It wasn't just about a MACD or think crossover, because that happens on hundreds and thousands of stocks. But to narrow down what would be the highest probability if we get action at the price points, and that's what's unique about my system. It's got nothing to do with the indicators, right, or the visionary lines. The visionary lines act as a guide of narrowing down the probability. And I use several screens now, not just the screen you're seeing. But anyways, never mind about that. So now I'm going to go back to Apple, AAPL. The Apple updates I'm sending to my special followers. As a long-term investor in Apple, I made videos back here suggesting that Apple will return to its glory day, and this is way back in here you see in end of April. And this stock had a couple of option trades here and here. The last trade didn't work out due to so much problems. It was very tricky. But most of the option trades worked out here. I had at least 2 or 3 option trades in this time frame, and they all were successful. On top of this being a long-term investment, so this has been a strong winner for me. Except for the last, because there's no way to be 100% correct, except for the last time, because of the launch with all the bullshit that was happening with the stock company. So. Anyways, my point is that I don't look at a stochastics or MACD. I look at what the visionary lines are telling me based on the past for probability, and that's why I could say that Apple, and I still think Apple's going much higher, but what I'm getting at in this video is that it's not simply looking at uh, indicators or the visionary lines. It's looking at a lot of factors, the pattern, the past, um, but the visionary lines act as a guide to narrow down the highest probability. And that's the difference with my system. People, there's a lot of so-called gurus. They spit out 100 picks, so many picks. And of course, out of those picks, there's going to be right ones. But what I'm doing is the opposite. I'm narrowing down to the highest probability where you can make a large profit or a small profit, but the losses are minimized to the minimum. Because I'm looking for the highest probability setups that are also could be safe, and Apple has been my recommendations have been nothing but winners most of the time at a rate of 90%, in my opinion. So that's what my system's about. And as for the Apple, long term, I see this higher as we haven't violated anything, and the stock, in my opinion, is still setting up for higher prices. And when that happens, that will be up to the market, because my system isn't about, nobody knows the future. What I do know is that the chart patterns, everything is very bullish in Apple, and nothing has changed. Regardless of these little pullbacks that have been occurring, the stock is very strong. I mean, anybody negative this stock, in my opinion, does not understand technical analysis, because until something is proven, everything I have a confirmation. If I see something negative in Apple, I would be the first one to say something negative. But there is nothing negative. To me, the stock is still setting up for higher prices. And indicators cannot tell you this. This is experience, and my visionary lines are telling me very well that Apple, looking at multiple time frames and multiple screens, Apple is very strong and going higher. What I've been covering BlackBerry. BlackBerry, on the other hand, has a lot of issues, and the visionary lines have been telling me that as well. Even though I said there's some bullish probabilities, the stock couldn't confirm the bullish probabilities, and therefore that makes it very negative. Anyways, so that I want to just explain about my system. To this, or even to my followers or special followers or followers who are following. It's not simply just the visionary lines. What they do is they are helping me narrowing. Anytime I recommend something, it's about high probable setups, but they have to confirm, and that even makes it even more high probability. And that's something nobody's doing. A lot of gurus, and I can show you guys who make picks. I'll give you an example. I have him. He is following me. I'm going to go to my profile. I'm going to go to, sorry, I don't need to go to, I can do Siri notes. I'm going to give you an example. What the hell? Sorry, people. I don't know why it doesn't come up. But anyways, this is a great example. I mean, this guy has some charts, as he spits out a lot of ideas. Okay, you can see this, lots of ideas. Okay, and he's wrong a lot, by the way. But anyways, that's not the point here. I'll make that another video. But the point is that there's a lot of ideas. What I do, I look for the high probable setups. Like, he was wrong with Apple before, and will be wrong with Apple again, in my opinion, because I look for confirmation. Anyways, my point is, this guy has a lot of picks, and sure, he's going to have some things that are correct, but my analysis is far different than that. And he has his indicators, and he has whatever. But I can assure you that what I'm doing is I'm looking to narrow down the probability. So any idea I have is because it's a high probable setup. Doesn't mean it's going to work, and doesn't mean that it's all going to work. But if your odds are improved dramatically, you have a better chance of making money. Instead of trying to look at 20 different picks, even if you subscribe to a service, and if they're giving you so many picks, sometimes people might be receiving 10, 15 picks a week, or more than that, that doesn't help you because you still have to figure out which ones are going to be the best, right? So I look for the most high probability, um, and not for, and I've been sending. I don't send very many and picks to my special followers, but I do send the quality, and they have to confirm. Without confirmation, you're flying blind. The Pan W trade was a combination of what I seen in the pattern, the visionary lines, and the volume and its setup, and it was a high probable trade. But it had to confirm, and it did so. So it did so in a very powerful way. And when they do all these things, I look at like a collision. That's why these trades work. And the same like the Twitter trade that I made up with TWTR, TWTR. I talked about Twitter versus Facebook, and you see we had a nice directional move here. That led to at least 100% gain, right? But Facebook barely budged compared to Twitter. But why my visionary lines, my experience, you take the difference. You see that this stock did not make much of a directional move. So I was able to figure out which one, and the indicators would not be able to do that for you. That's the difference. So there you have it. Thanks for listening. Follow me for more great advice.